Hey, if you don't have a way to look at the action sequence, which is the process at which action takes place, you will limit your ability to take proper action. Now, here's what I do know. I know that everything that we have in life is going to happen the backside or has happened in the backside of an incredible action, right? In some manner. And it's usually when we're suffering. And I believe that suffering comes in a form of shame, of guilt, of a desire for something more, of an inadequacy in life or lacking something. And that suffering is something that we want to avoid or we want to end. And I believe that action ends suffering. So if we're going to be able to end that suffering, we have to take an action. If not, the longer you stay in that funky place, well, the longer you stay in that funky place. It's logic, right? But most of us won't take the necessary action when we need to move out of the place. So we get used to it. We endure it. We have this pain that lingers for way too long, and it seeps into our life without us even realizing it. So we end up living this life that is one of quiet desperation and pain because, well, we don't take the proper action to get out of our situation. And there are 5 levels of looking at how action takes place to expand, to move ourselves to the next level, or if we stay confined. So as we walk through these, I want you to think through, like, where would I adjust this? Where do I see it happening in my life? And where might I take some control in different ways to create a different action to end my suffering? Now, first step is simply to understand what a trigger is. Now, there are 2 ways for us to start a process of what's called the action sequence. This sequence is how it leads up to an action that pushes us higher or keeps us smaller. The first thing is the trigger. Now, the trigger is one that happens either on demand or when crap hits the fan. Think about a moment in time when you took a bold action to go to the next level, right? Or when, I don't know, maybe something needed to be accomplished. It happened one of 2 ways. One way was you decided now is the moment. I'm doing it. You hunkered down, you settled your feet, and you decided to push forward. The other reason is, well, because something happened that you didn't want to happen. It was when your back was against it. You were broke. You were in a battle within your relationship. You had a project that had to get done. Your back was against the wall, right? Crap had hit the fan, and it forced you out of this level of maybe comfort you'd been in or a level of normalcy you've gotten used to that was far below where you wanted to be in life. And so it wasn't until you got to the very, very end that all of a sudden you decided to move. There's this weird story from back in the day that I heard recently, and I liked it. And it talks about this guy who walks up to a farmer who's sitting on his porch with a dog next to him. And he's talking to this guy. He walks up and says, "I'm trying to get directions to go to this place." And he goes, "Okay, where's the directions?" And starts telling directions. The farmer's like, "Go down the street, you make a left here," and out of the nowhere he goes. He hears this noise. It goes, "Arr!" Looks at the dog. The dog's moaning. It's like kind of in pain. And he looks at the dog. They both look at the dog. Farmer looks back at him, keeps the conversation going. You're going to go down the street. You're going to see this left turn. Make the left turn on the right-hand side. Arr! The guy goes, "I'm sorry, why is the dog moaning?" And he goes, "Well, the dog's sitting on a nail." He goes, "Well, why doesn't he move?" "It doesn't hurt bad enough." See, a lot of us will endure this pain and we'll just deal with it because it doesn't hurt bad enough. So we only ever move when crap hits the fan or the pain becomes enough. As opposed to the dog going over and going, "There's a nail there. I probably shouldn't sit in the nail," right? Proactive. On demand, you decide to trigger yourself to do something different. So it could be a matter of you going, "You know what? I don't like the situation I'm in. Time for something to change." That is a moment where the trigger can happen on demand, as it should. Once you have had a trigger, something's taken place, you go, "You know what? Either it's on demand or crap at the fan." The next stage of the sequence, building up to the action, which it's all about the build up to the action. You have this area where number 2 takes place as you assess the situation and yourself. Let's say a trigger takes place. The natural thing is to go, "What's going on? What's the situation? Can I handle it? Can I not handle it? How am I prepared for this?" Like, let's say a fire breaks out in your house, right? Trigger, fire alarm goes off. Assess the situation. House is on fire. What can I do? I can go to get my kids, get the animals, get them out of the house, right? Whatever's going on, I can move and I have assessed the situation and move forwards. Now, for a lot of us, it's not as urgent as a fire. Sometimes the reality is like, I'm not making enough money in my business and I don't know why. And so we will assess and go, well, this is an issue and this is an issue, but here's what most of us don't do. We don't assess at depth. We don't assess the true issue going on. We assess at a comfort level, because if I assess deeper than that, I have to accept what I see, and I may not like what I see. I may not like who I am in those moments. I may not want to accept this part of me, so I will find a way to stay above it all and either assess the area that feels comfortable, or I'll blame it somewhere else. I'll assess the situation's issue relies upon someone else's inadequacy or inabilities. So what happens is I don't properly assess. So I could have a trigger, but if I don't assess properly, I don't have the information I need to go to the next step, which we're going to step into in a second. But if I do, if a trigger takes place and I can step in and I properly assess the situation, understand where my issue comes into play, what I did wrong, now I have more information, the right information to go to the next step properly. The next step is 3, to plan. A lot of us have no plans. There's a possibility you have no plan. There are a lot of people I've met that have planners with no clue how to plan. It's a weird thing. We get these tools and do these things, and if we have had the right trigger, assess the situation, and we can lead forward and plan properly, we have so much more opportunity for success. But if you don't have a right trigger, don't assess properly, or even if you have and you have no clue how to plan, you're gonna fall short. My son right now is going to college, and this dude is not quite ready for it. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's a good kid. He works hard what he's told to. He's a checkbox person. Here's the thing, I'm gonna check that box. I got it done. But this dude, my fault, has not been taught how to plan properly. And so if you have no plan, you can't stay disciplined to a plan and achieve your goal. So which means you can't take the right action necessary to level your life up. A lot of us, our plan is hope and determination, and that's not a plan. That's in no way a structure to follow. You're relying upon sheer drive and emotion, and at some point that disappears. The idea is to say you have to have a plan of what the action will be so you can have faith and take the fullest action when we get to that moment. And before we get to that moment, we're going to assume right now you've made the proper plan, had the right trigger, you chose to go forwards, you assessed at a depth that was what we'll call below the level of comfort, so you know what needs to be worked on. You took time to craft the right plan, the one that's supposed to be followed, and you've done that right. The 4th step is to practice a little bit. Prepare yourself. If you're going to go on a stage and speak, you should probably practice for the first time a little bit of what you're going to say up there. Even if you had the trigger that says, I'm going to go get on a stage, I took a look, I don't do this, this, and this well, here's my plan of what to do. You don't go right from that on the stage. You probably practice a little bit. Prepare yourself for that moment that matters so you can go and be the fullest you. And so what a lot of us do is we get to the moment of preparation, just skip it. I'll deal with it later. It's sometimes a little bit more emotionally draining. It's a little more painstaking of energy to be given out. Like when I first started speaking, I noticed that like I wasn't great on stage, but the thought of like sitting in front of a mirror and giving my speech for an hour, man, that drove my desire like way down. Like I don't want to do all that. I would find ways to procrastinate. I was like, I'm gonna look stupid in front of a mirror in my house. What if somebody walks in the house and watches me talking to myself, right? But that was a necessary thing, but the emotional like energy it needed, like I couldn't bring it, and I had to force myself to practice, to prepare so I could show up properly. And the more I did that, the better I was in time. But here's the interesting thing. All these 4 lead us to the most important piece, which is the action. Now, there are 2 types of action, and one's gonna be one that we don't talk about, 3rd one. I'm not gonna talk about, here's what it is, inaction. 2 types of action, inaction exists, doing nothing. We don't want to talk about that. Do things. The 2 other ones are expansive, non-expansive. Now, when I say expansive, expansive means an action that expands you into the next level of your life, past the comfort zone you've been living in. Non-expansive is the action you take that's not at a level enough to push you to a higher point. Now, here is where each one falls in line. If I have a crappy trigger, crap hit the fan and I'm moving, and I didn't assess at a level of depth, and so my plan was crappy and I didn't practice, when I take the action, it's a non-expansive action because 1, I don't have the ability to do it right, and 2, I don't have the confidence to do it at a bold level. So I just sit back and kind of do it, then go, not a good enough outcome, and I stay in the same cycle of suck all my life. I can't push forward, I can't achieve things, and I'm in a funky place forever. The other level goes, okay, trigger took place. I chose to move. I assessed myself properly. Didn't want to see that, but now I notice it in myself. It's real. Let me go ahead and take a chance to step back and create a plan of what I might do. Based on this plan, let me practice some things. Prepare for the real big action that matters. Let me go do it. And then what you do is you boldly go to the next tier and expand with the action that's necessary. Now, you may not go into that with full confidence, but here's the truth. If you have thought through the things leading up, you have what's called calculated confidence for the action. You prepped. You did the best you could. If you just give all you got, you might struggle, you might fail. It's possible, but at least you'll have done it at the fullest ability you could. And then what's crazy is when you do that, you'd be surprised at how so much more, let's say 9 times out of 10 in my experience personally, I beat that threshold. I expanded a higher level. I killed the speech. I get in the podcast. I fix the issue in the situation I'm dealing with. I take the action. I'm at this higher level. And now I get to live out of that place. I get to have vastly more happiness, vastly more success, and so much more joy in life. So for you to think back about, okay, how do I get to the next level of life? And we want to eliminate the suffering, we'll call it. It's going to take an action. That expansive action is expanding you above that suffering level you've been experiencing of being broke, being unhappy, being not loved, not accepted, no joy, all these things that we experience that are keeping us stuck because of our inaction or low threshold action. You do what I just talked about. You walk through this action sequence, you'll find on the backside that expansive action, it eliminates the suffering. You don't have that feeling anymore. You wake up someday, and I don't know when that day is going to be, but I promise it comes if you stay with it. You'll wake up one day and look back at your life and go, man, I love this. I earned this. I enjoy this. And then now you can live more like that every single day moving forwards. So take these 5 steps, work through them, apply them in any manner of life, and you'll see things change. Because those are your top 5, really just only 5 steps of the action sequence.